After a powerhouse episode focusing entirely on Sofia Falcone's time in Arkham, the pen can shift the narrative back to Oz in this week's episode, titled Homecoming. Welcome everyone, this will be my Penguin episode 5 video, so we will break it all down. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos and watch out for spoilers if you haven't seen the episode yet. Homecoming opens directly after the events of the episode 3. Oz and Victor set afire the former's beloved purple Maserati. As Oz likes the match, he tells Vic about Rex Calabrese, a mobster who used to roam Oz's childhood neighborhood in a gold Cadillac, comparing the car to a chariot. As they walk away, Vic apologizes to Oz for wrecking his beloved wild chariot, but the mobster brushes it off, thanking him for saving his life and showing where his true allegiance lie. Several of Oz's men arrive at the scene and are shown a TikTok of Salvatore Maroni's son, Taj, at a tattoo shop. Oz and his men arrive at Taj's location, shoot his guards, causing the young Maroni to attempt to flee, only to be tackled by Vic. Oz holds Taj at gunpoint before quickly knocking him out. At Blackgate, Oz shows Salvatore and Nadia a Polaroid of bruised-up Taj. Infuriated, the Maronis accuse of using their son as a pawn, to which Oz replies that the only way to get their son back is to give him back the stolen supply of Bliss. Oz initially requests for Nadia to show up to the exchange alone, but Salvatore refused the request, with Oz eventually allowing her to bring only one guard. Oz assures them that the Taj will be just fine as long as they honor their end of the bargain and give him the Bliss back. As Oz leaves at Blackgate, he sees a news report on the TV about a deadly gas leak at the Falcon estate, with Sofia being one of a few survivors. As Sofia leaves her home, she is approached by GCPD Chief Mackenzie Bogue, a character we previously saw in The Batman. Bogue questions Sofia about what transpired that led her and Whitty's young niece Kia to spend the night in the greenhouse. She lies and claims that Luca and Whitty were fighting over Luca's wife Tina, and she was told to take young girl into the greenhouse for the night. Bogue asks Sofia about whether she knows of Whitty's whereabouts, which she denies, claiming that he must have left that night. Suspicious of Sofia's answers, Bogue further questions her, to which she responds by taunting him, accusing him of making light of her family's death. While it may not be exciting as seeing Robert Pattinson or Jeffrey Wright reprising their roles from Batman, the appearance of O'Neill's Bogue still stands out. While many superhero shows will often make a big deal about the return of a character, it's refreshing to see the Penguin play out Bogue's appearance casually. It just serves as a small reminder that yes, Bruce Wayne and Commissioner Gordon might not be in the screen, but they are still clear out there. Later, Sofia arrives at her family's burial site with a bucket of cold water, and it is revealed that she has Whitty tied up and gagged. Sofia begins to torture Whitty, demanding that he show her where her father kept his money, promising that she will let him go. Whitty refuses, believing that Sofia will kill him anyway, to which Sofia responds by dousing him with a freezing cold water. Meanwhile, Oz and his men are keeping Taj at Ivy Carlo's apartment. Much to her dismay and concern, Oz promises her that he won't let anything happen to her, but she remains frustrated, warning him that she needs him to fix the situation. Oz talks to his men, telling them that she should not have any concern about what happened to the Falcons, believing that Sofia has done them a favor. Oz instructs Vic to pick up his mother, Frances, while he and his men to take Taj to Nadia. On the other side of things, Sofia continues taunting Whitty, where he tells her that her mother Isabella was planning on leaving Carmine the night of her demise, and had even attempted to flee before, but decided to stay protect her children. Angered, Sofia chokes Whitty, accusing him of lying, to which he finally relents and offers to give her what she wants, claiming, "I couldn't help your mother, let me help you." Vic arrives at Frances' home, only to find in disarray and finds her sitting in her bedroom, looking at family keepsakes. Believing that Vic is one of her sons, she begins showing him off an old baseball glove. Vic reminds her of who he is, and she snaps out of her daze. As Vic helps Frances out of bed, he sees a bruise on her arm. Vic tells Frances about the death of the Falcon family, and she asks whether Oz was one who killed them. Not knowing what to do, he tells her that Oz killed the family. Much to her approval, While in his prison cell, Sal is visited by Mikey, one of O's men disguised as a prison guard, who attempt to kill him on O's behalf. Sal grabs the guard while being stabbed, leaving both of their fates unknown. Meanwhile, Oz arrives at a parking garage to meet up with Nadia and her armed guard, and she immediately demands his son. Oz escorts Taj, who is shown to be drenched in a gasoline with a duct tape over his mouth, out of his van, then orders his men to check the Bliss and drive away. But Nadia demands that he release Taj first. After mother and son reunited, Oz and his man are ambushed by the Maroni's men, but are quickly able to take them out. In retaliation, Oz lights a match, setting Taj and Nadia on fire, and they burn to death. Oz and his men drive away as the fire alarm goes off. After pulling over at their safe point, Oz discovers that almost all the Bliss has gone bad and that only 2 buckets of the drug are salvageable. Panicked Oz calls Mike, only for Salvatore to answer, informing him that his man is dead. What's more, the head of a Maroni clan family has escaped from the Black Gate. Salvatore threatens Oz, to which Oz responds by telling him to call Nadia. Oz then calls Vic, who tells him that Francis is okay. He instructs Vic to take Francis to a safe location where nobody would think to look. At the Falcon estate, Sofia is visited by Dr. Julian Rush, who tells her that he kept quiet after being questioned by the police. As Julian pledges to join Sofia, she examines her mother's fur coat, which has the name Isabella Gigante embroidered on it. Now wearing the coat, Sofia makes her entrance to her men, including Vitti. Sofia admits to killing the Falcon family and having no regret over her actions before calling her man expendable outside of Vitti, who is still a madman to the family. Sofia declares that her father's legacy is dead and that she will now take her mother's maiden name, Gigante. Vitti interjects, telling her not take any rash decisions, but before he can even finish speaking, Sofia casually shoots him in the head. She then opens a duffel bag full of Carmine's money, telling her man that her father made money off their labor while keeping it all to himself. She promises them that if they pledge their allegiance to her, she will ensure that will get the money they deserve. Julian watches Sofia in as she dumps the money onto the table. The new name change is quite exciting due to its connection to the original DC comics. On the page, Sofia's full name is Sofia Falcone Gigante, the daughter of Carmine and the wife of Rocco Gigante. However, this new name origin revealed in Penguin episode 5 is very satisfying, with Sofia taking her mother's birth name, a woman who was similarly betrayed by Carmine and the Falcons. It's a very dynamic change from the comics, one that puts Sofia front and center as a major force to be reckoned with. We knew what Sofia was capable of. She just killed the rest of her family, for Christ's sake. But after seeing the woman that she used to be in the last week's episode, there is something even more unnerving about her at this moment, especially in the fact that she didn't much blink before shooting Vitti. It's not that we feel bad about Vitti's death, but paired with O's brutal slaying of Nadia and Taj, the series seems to be relishing in having the two central characters one-upping each other in terms of their viciousness. However, while O's act was out of desperation, Sofia was far more cold-hearted. Vic takes Francis to the Ruiz town point, which is overrun with looters in the wake of flood. While fleeing to an abandoned and decaying apartment building, the two are spotted by a local drug dealer. Francis tells Vic that she hates the apartment, as it reminds her of the apartment she used to share with her sons, claiming that the east side of the Gotham is cursed because it takes everything from you. Oz arrives at Eve's apartment, pleading for her to come with him at gunpoint, but she refused to go with him. Oz is angered, but Eve calms him by saying that while she still believes him, she will only hold him back. While not as explosive as the aforementioned deaths of Vitti, Nadia and Taj, this moment feels so reminiscent. Thus far, the tension in Homecoming makes the series feel as if it is about to erupt. We shouldn't care about Oz, yet we don't want to see him and his loved ones die. In a remote cabin, a drunken Sal soaks while looking at the pictures of Nadia and Taj. Moments later, Sofia barges into the cabin, holding Sal at gunpoint. She tells him that freedom comes at a cost, and that her father always found him to be weak because of how much he cared for his family. She begins to praise him for getting it right, and tells him that they have both been screwed over by the boss and that she wants to end the war between their families. Sal is hesitant until Sofia tells him that the name of Falcon no longer exists, offering him to form an alliance between Maronis and Gigantes, where they work together to kill Oz and take over Gotham. Thanks to Sofia Gigante, Salvatore seems convinced that an alliance between their families makes the most sense. While taking out Oz will likely be their top priority, they will then turn their sight on Gotham itself, intending to take full control of the city's organized crime as an extremely powerful joint organization. Naturally, this will no doubt prove to be a major challenge for Oz, who at the moment only has 2 buckets of Bliss and survived his encounter with the Maronis. Oz arrives at safe house in Crown Point, where Vic and Francis are already fast asleep. Oz wakes up his mother up and lies down next to her, apologizing to her, promising that he is going to try to fix things. Francis questions Oz by asking, "Aren't you trying to kill me?" To which he responds, "I'm trying to protect you." Then Vic wakes up and sees Oz rummaging through his mother's keepsakes in the living room. He commends Vic for making the smart move to relocate. Vic asks Oz about his childhood after being told that he used to live in Crown Point. Oz mentioned that the old baseball glove that Francis showed Vic earlier belonged to his brother Jack. It is then the moment Vic finally works up the nerve to ask Oz about what happened to his brothers. But Oz gives a vague answer. The city took them, just like it took your family. He claims that he was too weak to save them before their demise. While continuing to rummage through the keepsakes, he finds a token from Gotham's now abandoned trolley station, allowing the 2 of them to break in. Oz tells Vic that the station has access to all Gotham. He uses a generator to restore the power to the station. The Penguin episode 5 ends with a cop telling the Victor that the underground tunnels and trolley have are primed to become the new base of operation, thanks to the 2 packets of Bliss he still has. Cobb confirms the humidity will be perfect to grow even more the mushrooms as well. This will allow Penguin to build his very own foundation of power on the back of the new drug that's recently been introduced into the Gotham. As a result, it's going to be fascinating to see what happens next, now that Oz and Sofia have quickly become the 2 most powerful players in Gotham City's underworld. The face of crime in Gotham has already been intrinsically changed in the episodes of Penguin released this far. However, it's only going to be evolved even further once Cobb and Gigante eventually go to war in earnest in the episodes that are still to come. Even as Oz continues to remove threats on his way to the top, the ending of the Penguin episode 5 proves the biggest challenges are still to come. This is especially true now the Salvatore Maroni is seemingly allied with the Sofia and new Gigantes. It was always going to be the next impossible for Homecoming to top last week's episode, but it still comes incredibly close. Despite having a runtime of close to an hour, the pacing of the latest episode of The Penguin is chaotic as it is right. Farrell and Milotis continue to excel in their roles as Oz and Sofia, but Kelly and Brown also truly shine in their roles as Vitty and Salvatore. Up until this point, we have seen Kelly portray Vitty as merely a self-absorbed prick. To see him in a state of desperation just goes to show how much the stakes have been raised. Brown had previously been relegated as to a single location as a Maroni, but now that he's escaped. He brings the new level of menace to the role, making him yet another incredibly intimidating character to add to the series roster. Homecoming never wastes a single second, requiring us to pay a close attention to every single frame. If you find any reference during the episode that I didn't talk about in this video, please write them down in the comments. Thank you.